You're listening to Keith Engle, the host of TGI Sports Talk on the National Streaming Sports Roku channel.
Football season is here, and SeatGeek is my go-to for buying tickets. Now with SeatGeek, every single ticket is backed with their buyer guarantee. We've all had plans change, and when you can't make it to the big game, SeatGeek has you covered. They're the only ticketer that allows you to return your tickets ahead of the event for credit with SeatGeek swaps. So when things come up, I know that my tickets won't go to waste. So what are you waiting for? Download the SeatGeek app to maximize your possibilities and shop live events with confidence.
Good afternoon and good evening, everybody. How's everybody doing today? It's Keith Engle from TGI Sports Talks College Football Huddle. We should get into some baseball, but we'll let it lie for now. Welcome, everybody watching tonight on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. We're live on National Streaming Sports Roku channel. Hopefully, I haven't turned it on. I want to see my giant head. Hopefully we're okay on Facebook. Somebody give me a thumbs up if they can. I'm going to look real quick. I want to welcome and thank all the groups that allow us to share this and every show that we do here on TGI Sports Talk. And those include John Gonzalez at the Sports Authorities, Flo and the gang at the Bottom Line Sports. Flo's deployed at the moment. We thank him for his service. Top secret where he is. And we might get him on a one-on-one interview show soon as we start to get back into some interviews. We're still doing some encore presentations the next couple of weeks, so we'll go from there. Who else? The gang at Let's Talk Sports, we definitely want to thank. Ken Krause, sports, golf bud, sports of all sorts. And special thanks to Ralph Williams, who supports our show. We support his. He does a lot of great stuff out of Pittsburgh, including the Sports Corner with Smoke and Jim Frazier every Tuesday from 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern. So we appreciate his time as well. We'll be doing another encore presentation, a one-on-one with Keith Engle this Friday. It'll be Wesley Walker, a replay of that. It was a really fun interview, by the way. At least a couple more weeks, we'll have encore interviews, but then we'll be trying to get back into the swing of getting some new interviews. We got some people that are interested, and I got to get myself interested. Not that I'm not interested, just haven't had time to do the legwork that it takes to get it done, and I apologize to all of you for that. Tonight on the College Football Huddle, College Sports Huddle, we can talk about lots of stuff. We got the draft hanging out there. We can still talk. It's NFL now because they're in the NFL, but we can talk about it one more week on this show. Obviously, a lot of listen, I didn't think anybody had a terrible draft. Some players went higher than expected. Dylan Gabriel comes to mind. Some went lower than expected. Shedeur Sanders. We can talk about that stuff. Your favorite picks. Boise State's head coach gets a big extension. Danielson gets 5 years. $10 million. It's not Kirby Smart money, but it's pretty good for a group of five coach. He's done a great job at Boise State getting them into the playoff last year. We'll have a very early, way too early top 25 for you when we'll look at some other stuff. So we'll look at the quarterbacks for next year. Who are the guys that we're going to be looking at in the draft next year this time? And maybe we can talk about the prank phone call. We talked about the prank phone call here on the National Streaming Sports show. The whole gang was talking about it when I popped in a few minutes late. I think it's much ado about nothing as far as the call itself. Who cares? Shedeur Sanders is going to be scarred by this. He's pretty weak in the mind if that's the case. And, I know Urlacher got fined $100,000 by the Falcons. You should not leave your work laptop with that's encrypted or whatever and has lots of that's a nice look, Keith. I should leave this up the rest of the show, I think. Well, that wasn't what I was trying to do. I apologize. So get the freezing screen with nowhere else does it happen. When I guest on shows, when I have guests in the studio, guess we got to deal with it. Tip, good morning. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to Tip. Got Tip talking some baseball. Season's too long. Do you see him in that cowboy hat? You know who he looks like. Rip. The one and only. One-on-one with me. Well, I'll have you on, Tip. We'll talk some sports. Going to do a couple more. If you want to come on and do one-on-one, we can talk about the state of baseball. I hope to have Jeff Fry on, former Red Sox Ranger, soon. We've talked about to a lot of baseball guys, and we'll get them lined up and come in. But Tip, if you want to come in for Friday, we'll set it up. The next couple of Fridays, I'm probably not going to do it. I've already committed to an encore presentation, but we got it all queued up and ready to go. So I got to remember to stop it because it's an hour and a half with Wesley Walker, and I know that you start at 10, so I got to make sure it stops at 10. And next week I have spring tea at the Montessori school with my 2-year-old granddaughter next Friday. Papa's going with her. I'm her special guest, and we'll have lots of fun. But we can talk about the Sherda Sanders stuff. We can talk about a way too early top 25, as I said. Is there a lot of other stuff to talk about? That's the problem. College sports. We'll talk some baseball here next week. We'll take a look. We're getting ready for the Super Regionals here soon, and the College World Series. We'll talk a little bit about that. But it's college football, and the draft does count. I get mad. I don't get mad. I know I chastise some guys sometimes when we get too much into the NFL, but there's always going to be a crossover. I mean, college is a professional league now. Here's something nobody's talked about too, by the way, that I've heard, at least not on our network. And maybe I don't watch every single show, every minute of every show. I try to catch Tip in the mornings for a little bit, especially Fridays. Tip's got a great show, Fridays, The Tipping Point. Check it out on YouTube and Roku, the National Streaming Sports Roku channel. Nobody's talked about Quinn Ewers going in the 7th round to Miami. If Quinn Ewers had decided to stay in school, he would have transferred somewhere and got a boatload of money. Look at the quarterbacks and what they got. $4 million, $3 million. He would have made more staying in college and transferring this year. I don't know that that's a good thing. And AC's with us tonight. Good evening. We'll start talking before we take our hiatus, which will probably be, I don't know, mid-May maybe. I don't know. I don't know what I did last year. I got to take a look back at the show dates. We took about 6 weeks off probably, ran some repeats and stuff in this time frame, and we'll probably do the same thing. But I'm going to come up, AC, with my futures pick for the college football. As you know, if you followed this show last year, I picked Notre Dame in July or June or July to win the national championship. And I had a $300 bet that really only cost me $100 because I played some games with some of the betting sites. But it was a $7,700 payout if they'd won. And they did not. But they got to the final, and we got to have fun right till the final game of the season. We had fun with it every week. We thought they were out of it. And they fought their way back. AC rode that wave with me. We had a lot of fun doing that. Scott Colby. Yeah, you're late. You're early. This is early for you. You usually come in 5 minutes before the show ends. Couple things. And while Scott's here, because he's a Patriot fan, as I am, and we're not going to talk football, college. Well, we can talk about the Patriots draft. We can talk draft. I don't want to get in too deep into the NFL, but we can talk about it from strictly the draft perspective. But I want to talk a little bit about Bill Belichick too, Scott. The man's totally lost his mind. This woman, Hudson, what's her name? Jennifer. I don't even know her name. Jennifer Hudson. Is that her name? Is running his life. And again, Tip, I don't know if you're still there, but, I know you were talking about the fact that she's his business manager and they have a contract. So what? Bill Belichick never had a business manager or anybody else show up to an interview to make sure he didn't say the wrong thing. Bill Belichick never had a business manager help him or write an email for him to explain what went on and why she was acting the way she acted during that interview. What's happened to Bill Belichick? You know, people joked when he was first linked with her about, you know, predatory what am I trying to say here? Predatory instincts or whatever. Him chasing around a young girl. Girl could be his granddaughter. You know who's a predator in this situation? She is. What is her name? Damn it. Is it Jennifer Hudson? It sounds wrong. Why does that sound wrong? Jordan Hudson. All right, whatever. I got a thing with names. We you know, the Wi-Fi there sucks, Scott. That's the problem at the home. I need to talk Shedeur Sanders to those kids. You know, there's nothing like talking Shedeur Sanders in the NFL draft with a bunch of 2-year-olds who actually are smarter than me. These kids, I got to tell you, I'll tell you a quick story, and then we're going to get away from football for a second. My granddaughter's two and a half. She started going to Montessori schools. If anybody knows anything about Montessori schools, they're basically, instead of sending your kid to daycare, you send her to literally a school where they learn to be independent. This is the smartest, and I know it's going to sound like I'm biased. I've seen a lot of friends with kids. I don't have kids. This is my stepdaughter's daughter who graciously has shared her as my granddaughter. And I've never seen a kid this smart. I mean, these schools aren't cheap, believe me. But she's going to be so far ahead of other kids just because of what she's learning. It's remarkable to me. She helps my wife too. She's making cookies. She knows she doesn't bring me beer. She brings me drinks, though, my little Powerade drinks. She knows where they are. She'll bring me like 5 of them at a time. Anyway, prank call was funny, but not. But if that was my dad who got fined for a prank call made by my ass would have got a boot up at her too. There's 2 different parts to this. We talked about it a little bit on the previous show. Making a prank call, who cares? Again, Shedeur Sanders is butthurt because he got made a fool of. Too bad. He'll get over it. The kid's 21 years old. 21-year kids are not mature adults. Most of us 65-year-old men are not mature adults. So he made a prank call. And yeah, his dad gets all over him. His dad gets all over him. The big deal is, what's his name? Not Urlacher. I just had it a second ago. Maybe it is Urlacher. Defensive coordinator of the Falcons. It's got his work computer that should be locked down, wide open at the house. If I'd done that at work and our computer shut down, if I walk away for whatever, 5 minutes, it shuts down. Not shuts down, it goes to sleep. And you got to have the password to get in. I'd get fired, not fined, fired for leaving, my computer with proprietary information on it. It doesn't matter if it was my son, my daughter, my wife, my dog. So the prank call itself there, who cares? Kid's a kid. The dad's in trouble. Now, the kid gets an ass beaten from his, as AC said, from his dad, then you should get it. Rick Sherlock, how are you, my friend? Another good draft day for your Georgia Bulldogs. We mentioned Saturday. What'd you have? 12 guys go off. Not your best team. We talk about this a lot, right? Georgia, still one of the top teams in the country. Not what they were when they were winning back-to-back championships. But still 12 guys drafted off this team. Ohio State had 14. Georgia 12. Texas 12. Team I can't read anymore. 10. I think that was who was that? How come I can't read it? Oregon, maybe. Ole Miss 8. LSU 7. Bama 7. Florida 7. South Carolina 5. How about that? I was going to say I need another bet like Notre Dame. I need somebody. Again, you know me, and I talk about this a lot, right? I want a quality pick. It's like the NFL draft. I'm not going to put 100 down to win, 500. I'm just not going to do it. I'm going to find a team that's plus 2,000 or better. The more, the better. And I'm going to bet them to win the national championship. Not just because they're plus whatever, because I think they have a chance to win. And if there's not one of those teams, I won't lay a bet. But we'll find somebody, AC. I agree he's done. It'll be out of coaching in 1 to 3 years, I believe. This is Bill Belichick, I believe. She seems to have taken full control, and it will be to his detriment. Listen, from what I read from several articles from some Boston writers today, Scott, that people close, friends of Bill Belichick's, are very tenderly addressing the situation with him. The entire Jordan Hudson situation. Like, Bill, what are you doing? Maybe somebody can wake him up. I got to tell you, I shouldn't get. I wish somebody had woken me up one time in my life before I made a serious mistake. Many, many years ago. Don't get excited. He also picked the Giants in the playoff. Listen, I might do it again. I swore I wouldn't do it again. I told Danny Fuller I wouldn't do it again. I told you, Rick, I wouldn't do it again. I might just do it again. I'm really excited about the draft for the Giants. I'm excited that their defense is going to blow things up on teams in the backfield all day long. I just got to see if I think they can score 80 points at all. So I probably won't pick them. The division's still very tough, obviously. Cowboys will be better. The Eagles are the Eagles. The Redskins are really good if they don't have a, sophomore slump. A lot of teams take a step back after getting really good. Then they take a step back. Then they get really good. BB's having fun and living the rest of his life on his terms. He's not living on his terms. That's my point, AC. He's living on her terms. If I get to spend the last 20 years of my life like that, the rest of the last 20 years of my life, it'll be worth it. I guess it depends on the perspective, right? If all you want is to be 72 years old and have a 24-year-old girlfriend, maybe wife one day, I don't know. That's fine. But pay close attention to what's going on here, AC. He is not living out the rest of his life on his terms. She's living it for him. She's got to be copied on all the emails. And again, we talked about it in the other show, and I think it was Tip that brought it up. If you're there, Tip, you can certainly comment that she's his business partner. So she should be there guiding the interview and making sure it stays on topic. And supposedly they were supposed to just talk about the book and not their personal life. When did Bill Belichick ever need anybody to tell him how to deal with the press or not deal with the press? Never. Bill Belichick, that I know, would never have sent an email today explaining her actions that I guarantee was written by her. I'm angry. I'm angry, and I'm up. I want my Bill Belichick back. I don't care that he doesn't coach my team anymore. I want that guy back. If I'm North Carolina, I'd be a little worried too. Like, who the hell did I hire? I think you're right. And if he doesn't dump her, Scott, he'll be out in 1 to 3 years. And he wants to coach football, AC. If it's all about having a 24-year-old girlfriend, well, then retire and go live on the beach. Lift her up with your feet. Whatever he does with her toes, I don't know. Jesus Christ. Oh, that's right. She makes his toes curl. I don't know what the deal is. But if you want to talk about my football coach, that's a bad decision. And Dave Portnoy, who I think is a blowhard of the utmost, you can comment you want on him, Scott. He's one of your homeboys. I like Portnoy, makes me laugh, but he's a blowhard. I like his pizza reviews. The rest of it really kind of stinks. But he's a big Patriot fan, and he thinks that, it looked like a hostage tape the other day. I do think she has some kind of spell on him. She might be a witch. One of your granddaughter be hosted soon. She co-hosted with me a year ago, and before she was 2. She co-hosted with me in the when the family went away to Mystic Seaport. When we go in June and I do a show live from there, I'll probably have her co-hosting again. And she's come in a few times on a Sunday morning, or even MLB update. She's come in when my wife's brought her downstairs, and she's come on camera and, railed on the state of baseball, the state of college football. She's a very opinionated little 2-year-old, I'll tell you right now. Rick Sherlock, the G-Man, will get a wild card this year. I don't want to go too deep into the NFL here, but probably not. I'm still pained by last year. I had to deal with it week in and week out. Where are you, Danny Fuller? Once BB got fired from the Pats and didn't get the Atlanta job, the NFL and the record was done, and the drama will sell the book better. He's already written books. He makes more money. He doesn't need to sell books. It's a football book. My point is, Bill Belichick has lost his way. There's no way to say he hasn't. And NC is just a bucket list for him because he wanted to coach in college. I get that. But this is not the Bill Belichick that I know. She would never have been there. She wouldn't be telling him, write me a nice little email and send to all the bad people in the press and tell them I'm not this horrible person who interrupted this interview 20 times. Wasn't once. They showed that. If you notice the interview, or if you watched it, I watched it online yesterday. I don't really care about these type of things usually. But the interview said we only included this last scene of her saying, no, we're not going to talk about how we met. No. They only included it because she interrupted about 20 other times. Notre Dame plus 14. That's not too bad either. Arizona State loses one guy, Scatabo. It's a big loss for them, but really they don't lose anybody else. That is a tempting number right there, Scott. I don't think they can win. I have a hard time thinking Arizona State's going to compete with the big boys in a playoff. Yes, they competed this year. They gave Texas all they could handle, right? It was Texas, right? And they get everybody back basically except Scatabo. I was reading an article earlier in the Athletic, I think, about overachievers, underachievers based on how many draft picks they have. And Arizona came into the conversation. If they only had one draft pick, how good could they be? But they only lost. That's the only one they had really eligible for the draft of note, right? Arizona State could be worth maybe a sawbuck. We'll see. Portnoy is a blowhard. I do like Dave's, and again, that's how he made his bones, right? Doing pizza reviews. God bless him. He turned it into like $1 billion industry. Sold the company Barstool for like $600 million and bought it back for $1. The guy's doing something right, but I just can't deal with him. And I run into him in Saratoga, and I swear he's even worse in person. You bet a fan of Barstool since it was all Massachusetts college smoke shows. I love the pizza reviews. I think and he still does them. He did one here. He did a couple in the area here last year because he's got a home now here in Saratoga because he spends all of August in here. Basically, well, he travels too, and he's in and out of town in July and August for the track, the horse track. But man, it just kills me. Scott says he believes Belichick was scared of being alone and she was out and she was out of convenience for him. You think he's really scared of being alone? Bill Belichick doesn't strike. And again, I don't know Bill Belichick, right? I don't think he's scared of being alone. I think if there's a villain here, it's her, definitely. And now she's going out of her way to try to change the narrative. That she doesn't like where this narrative's gone. When this started, he was a creepy old man. Now she's a master manipulator, and I believe it. I think in this situation, she's the predator. I know women are going to get mad at me all over the world again. Send letters, PATS09@MSN.com. Send your nasty emails. So I don't know. Was he scared of being alone? You can tell it's a college off season, right? We got nothing to talk about but Bill Belichick. What way? He's retired. He's done. He's nothing to do but have fun. He's not retired. Number one, he's coaching a Division I school at a power conference. He's got a job. He has nothing to do but have fun with him around. Oh, maybe we're talking about. Oh no, we're talking about Bill, right? He's not retired. And you don't think she's a predator? What do you think she's getting out of this? She thinks she's in it for the hot roll in the hay with Bill Belichick? She might be a bit of a predator, but that's nothing new, and I have seen a lot worse. Yes, I have. I'm not going to compare worse. It's funny. Normally, I wouldn't give two craps about this whole thing. I really wouldn't. I'd rather talk college football. But I brought it up. I also know this might be blasphemy, but Penn State I can't. First of all, that's plus 800 for me. Not great value. It's good. It's good. But James Franklin's going to find a way to blow this. He always does. Oh, James Franklin is the worst. Shannon Mahoney. How can you say your last name, Shannon? I hate that when I can't say your last name. I'll try it. And if you watch my shows, I butcher names all the time. Hog Camp. Hog Camp. How about that? Hog Camp. Shannon, we welcome you. Thanks for sharing it live. We'll get more people in Amsterdam. We're live on Facebook, my TGI Sports Talk page, my personal page. We're live on YouTube, Twitter. We're live on National Streaming Sports Roku channel. Now we're live on Shannon's Facebook feed as well. Anybody who's on, here's the thing. Anybody who comes in live from Shannon's feed is going to get a special prize. A copy of Bill Belichick's book. No, I'm just kidding. You're not kidding. You're going to get the special thumbs up prize. Our marketing budget has gone way down. Shannon, you remember when you sent me? I'm all over the place. This is like the Sunday Stream of Consciousness show tonight, not the college football huddle. I got to get into that. I'm going to get into it a second. The way too early top 25 for next year. Well, this year. It's only a few months away. Shannon, remember? I think it was like 2 years ago, maybe longer. Gosh, it might have been before COVID. You'd sent me a link to a LinkedIn offer for sports, some sports announcing job you would do. It would have to be during COVID because I know it was remote. I never heard back from those. I did hear from those people actually to my original inquiry. Sounded awesome, and then I never heard back from them again. I've looked everywhere for that company just so I could look it up because I'm going to retire in 119 days. 119 days. And I wanted to look back into it again, but I can't find it. I don't suppose you remember. Scott Kobe, Colorado's in the top 25. Can someone explain to me when you lose your quarterback, an all-world Heisman talent, and another receiver that caught 100 balls, by the way. Horn caught 100 balls as well. How do you get ranked? And also Boise State is ranked top 10. Again, it's the way too early. And I'm the one I have up is USA Today, so I'm not sure what you looked at because sometimes it's hard to find these early top 25s. I'm going to go through here real quick. To answer your question, I don't know how Colorado's ranked. I really do not. The way they finished their season, terrible. Boise State, I like Boise State. They've got a lot of guys back except for their most important player in Giante. But I like Boise State a bit. Obviously, number one was Ohio State. I'm going to go through the top 10, and then I'll go back to some comments here real quick. So Ohio State, number one. They're going to reload. They had a huge $20 million payroll last year. What do you think they're going to have this year? They're going to have a quarterback competition between Sayin and Kienholz, but excuse me. Man, that competition will go on all summer. But this team, it won't matter. They're going to throw to elite wide receivers. It's basically going to become wide receiver U there at Ohio State, and they got a great defense coming back. Caleb Downs might be the best defensive player in the country. They've got Penn State number 2. Drew Allard bypassed the draft this year. He'll be one of the top guys next year, prospect-wise. When you don't get picked in the first round, it doesn't mean it's way too early. It is way too early, by the way. Just get in the league. We'll look at some of the quarterbacks if we have time tonight. There aren't that many. Everybody thinks next year's quarterback class is great. Number one, no guarantee Arch Manning comes out. There's no guarantee Arch Manning is going to be a superstar either. It is way too early, Danny, but we got to talk about something. So throw something else at me. It's not Bill Belichick or the prank call to Shadur Sanders. Penn State returned a lot of guys. Singleton's back. Allen's back. They do lose the best defensive player in the country, probably. Well, outside of Travis Hunter, the second best. He's going to have as big an impact in the NFL as Hunter, with just on one side of the football. Texas, number 3. They got the usual suspects here. Number 4 is Georgia. Clemson at 5. Cade Klubnik is back. They did win the ACC. They didn't have a great year. They had some issues running the football, but hopefully Haynes will be back. I don't know. Dabo's still a good football coach. Most every school in the country, except for about 4 that are ahead of him right now, would trade their program for Clemson's any day of the week. LSU 6. I'm not a big believer in Brian Kelly. I'm not buying that. And this is the only reason I'm going through this early, Danny, is to, first of all, talk about something and poo-poo some of these picks. Notre Dame, they need a quarterback. They're relying on the transfer portal again. The Carr is going to be the guy who they're going to try to fit into this role. They already had Aguilar. Is that how you say his name? Aguilar transfer out. They got Jeremiah Love back. Also Price. The running backs are all back. I think their offense, depending on the quarterback, I think Carr can play at least as good as Riley Leonard, who I loved, as you know, as a college quarterback. And the schedule is going to be friendly. They got road games against Miami, which I think is like week 1 or 2. Arkansas, Texas A&M, Boise State, and Southern California, they get at home. Oregon, number 8. Listen, Oregon's going to spend a gazillion dollars. Dylan Gabriel is gone from this team, but they've got Dante Moore, former UCLA Bruin. I'm going to stop at 10 too and catch some comments here in a second. Is Moore any good? He didn't play really well at UCLA. Danny, is Dan Lanning going to be able to make him a better quarterback? They've done pretty good up there with transfer quarterbacks. Dylan Gabriel is still a shocker to me that he went in the 3rd round or 4th round. Where'd he go? 3rd round, right? Alabama, people like to write them off. They had 4 losses last year. Probably underachieved with the fact that they had 7 guys get drafted. going to be hard to replace Jalen Milroe. He was a very good, very, very, very good college quarterback. We'll see how he plays in pros. Ty Simpson's expected to be the replacement. We'll see. Caleb DeBoer is going to put his mark on this team. This will start to be his team now. Last year, he was really coaching Nick Saban's team. Number 10, Miami. I don't know. After last year's debacle on defense, almost week in and week out, they had to outscore people. Well, you got to outscore people to win, we know, but their defense was just atrocious. Carson Beck is not going to play as well as Cam Ward played, regardless of how much money you're paying him. $4 million. They lost, I think, 4 players in the draft as well. Listen, and Arroyo is a great. I meant to tell Bo on the National Streaming Sports Show that they got a steal in Arroyo. He's going to be a really good pro tight end. But I don't know about Miami at number 10. We'll see. We'll stop there for now and see what kind of comments we got here. Shan said that. Scott Kobe. There, we already talked about that. If you're Shannon's feed, you get exclusive behind the scenes on how Bill met Jordan. I'm not buying the whole plane deal. I never did. I usually don't care about these things. Why do I care about this? I blame you, AC. People have jobs in retirement. You're not retired. People have jobs in retirement like greeting people at Walmart and driving a school bus, which, by the way, in 119 days, I'm going to do none of that. I'm going to play golf. I'm going to see my granddaughter. I'm going to travel. That'll be my job in retirement. I know retired Navy SEALs. That's a little different, though. That's a little different, right? I mean, I'm assuming they retired at a fairly young age and thank them for their service, by the way. These people are doing tremendous work. And anybody who watches this show know I have tremendous respect for our armed forces. So, and I'm just saying that most women with richer old men are worse than her. Where's the degree of good or bad, though, AC? I'm not sure I get it. If you're a gold digger, you're a gold digger. Is there good or bad? I mean, are there different degrees? I mean, if you're a black widow and a gold digger, that's obviously worse. They do less and take more and only count down the days until exactly. They're all the same. So how can she be better or worse than anybody else? This is more normal than in that world that people want. In that world that people want to say, I don't know, whatever. I'm probably putting. I don't even care about it really. My wife got me all excited about it. She's reading me an article, and I stupidly stopped listening about halfway through it. And she stopped reading, and I thought she was done, but she just said, "Oh, you were done listening," so I stopped reading. How do you think BC will be this year with Billy O's tech? I think BC, and again, it's way too early, right? As we talked about, AC. I think Bill O'Brien he lost his quarterback, who's going to Florida State this year. I expect Bill O'Brien to continue the building blocks that he's done at BC. Do I think this team's going to win the ACC? I don't. I think this is a team that will compete, for that. I think they have a chance to compete to be at the top portion of that league. It's not the best power conference. It's probably the worst power conference. But I think Boston College, which has a pretty decent, not great, tradition. You see their stadium behind me now. Great place to go watch a football game. I think they'll be, and we'll see as the summer goes on and we can dive into this stuff a little bit more. I see BC, this is a team that you might see crack the top 25 at one point, maybe touch it, fall back out. I got to see their schedule. Is it too early? I think it's too early. Is it too early to look at schedules, Danny? Vikings took note of the Eagles' success and drafted Georgia defensive lineman at 139. I got to tell you, the Eagles find a way at the back of the draft to find really good players. They got Campbell from Alabama, who's a top 10 talent at 31 because he had a shoulder injury. I get that, but we'll see. I know you're just kidding. I was following your lead on ranking. So was I. It is too early. I don't disagree. Sam Pittman, Mike. You know what? I'll give you. There's a lot. Danny brings up a pretty good topic. We'll go back to maybe the somewhere I got my. Where are my? Did I get rid of it? Damn it! I hate it when I do that. I had my watch list up here. It went away. We'll see if we agree with this. This is a site that I use a lot. College football hot seat. Sam Pittman's been on a hot seat for 2 years. I agree. Mike Norvell, he gets a pass for last year. They had really bad luck in the portal. What he did 2 years ago, I think still plays. I think this team's much better with Cantilano, if I'm saying his name right, at quarterback. I think he'll get tougher on defense, and I would expect this team to play much better. But Mike Norvell cannot afford anything close to a meltdown that they had last year. Just can't do it. Cannot do it. Lincoln Riley's going to be on. Lincoln Riley, his time is coming where he's going to be asked some serious questions. If he does not have a decent Big Ten record and make a decent bowl game, I'm not saying he's going to make the playoff, get in a decent bowl game and maybe win it, I think Lincoln Riley will start to get asked some hard questions. Brent Venable, sorry, Alan Perales. I've said from the beginning, I think Brent Venable's been on the hot seat since he took the job. People there still love Stoops. Trent Dilfer, not sure how he survived at UAB for a third year. Scott Satterfield at Cincinnati, should have stayed at Louisville. Mike Loxley at Maryland, a lot of talk he was in trouble last year. He'll need a good year last year. He's not going to get it in the Big Ten. Mike Norvell makes this list as well as number 10, Danny. Sonny Cumbie at Louisiana Tech. Brennan at Arizona. Jed Finch had done great things at Arizona, but he left. He took a bunch of kids with him to Washington, where I think he had a very good first year, considering they lost 21 out of 22 starters to either the draft or transfers when Caleb DeBoer left. So I thought he did a pretty good job. So all of these guys are, the pot's heating up. Pittman's right there. Hugh Freeze at Auburn. He's got to hit this right, man. He better hope that Jackson Arnold is the real deal and not what we saw most of the time at Alabama. Better hope he's the guy they saw in the bowl game. Justin Wilcox at California. Brian Kelly at LSU comes in at 15. I don't necessarily dismiss that either. Gerard Parker at Troy. Brett Pry at Virginia Tech. Scotty Walden at UTEP. Jeff Lebby at Mississippi State. Everybody gets fired at Mississippi State. Joe Moorhead at Akron. Speaking of guys at Mississippi State. And Tony Elliott at Virginia, who's had to coach under some difficult circumstances there, but you got to win eventually, right? Yeah, Lincoln Riley. Listen, I don't care what we're paying you. You cannot have another season like you've had the last year. This team made it to number 10. People forget this team got to 10 or 11. And then the bottom fell out on them. And 2 years ago with Caleb Williams, I know there's guys here that aren't big Caleb Williams fans. Caleb Williams is a really good quarterback. He's going to be really good at an NFL quarterback. He couldn't win with him. They played better defense last year. Now he can't find a quarterback. I didn't get your thoughts on Moore out of who played at UCLA and transferred to Oregon, Danny. What do I make it? Let me take a look at the ACC quickly. Oh, Lord. Got to be an easier way to make a living, right? I'm just kidding. What do I make of the ACC? I think the ACC is really wide open. I know Syracuse and their coach are really happy with the kid they brought in to replace McCord at quarterback, but they lost their best wide receiver to Penn State. He made a famous, he didn't name the kid, but he said, I'm not paying any wide receivers $2 million to stay here. So apparently he got $2 million from Penn State. Where am I? Let's look at the ACC. To me, I think SMU is a real deal. I really do. I love their coach. They got players back from this team last year. So right now, I'm going to say that SMU, Clemson, and Miami are going to compete for this title again this year. I think it's Clemson's to lose. They got the most experienced quarterback. Well, Carson Beck's experienced, but I think Klubik's better. We'll see if Beck stays healthy. Maybe I'm wrong. I think Syracuse could have a tough time repeating that 10-3 record, but I think they'll be very competitive. I love Coach Brown. Louisville, I think, takes a step back, losing their quarterback and some other key players. Georgia Tech is a team to watch for. Brent Key is a really, really good football coach. Manny Diaz did a great job at Duke in year one. This is going to be, I think Virginia Tech might step up. Their coach is on that hot seat too, by the way. Boston College 7-6 last year. I think they take a step above. I think maybe they can jump ahead of the Virginias and the Dukes at least and get in the conversation. I think Louisville might take a drop below all those teams, but I don't think it's going to be any good. I think North Carolina State's still going to struggle. It's going to be very interesting to see what Belichick does in year one at Carolina, but I don't think I don't think the ceiling is that high. He hasn't brought in, there's been a lot of talk about kids wanting to come there and play, but he's not getting a lot of blue chip prospects transferring there. Now, the advantage he has is we know he's not long-term. He's 72 years old. If a pro job comes open, don't kid yourself for a second. If it's the right place, he's not going to jump after a year. After July, it cost him $1 million to buy himself out of that contract. But it doesn't really hurt recruiting. It doesn't really hurt transfers because you can just leave after a year anyway, which you should be able to do if a coach leaves anyway. So Carolina is going to be an interesting, I think middle of this pack is the best you can hope for Carolina, unless my mind changes through the course of this coming year. Virginia's going to struggle. I think Cal struggles again. Wake without Dave Clawson is not going to get better. Stanford, Florida State will be much better. I'll give you this one. I said Clemson, Miami, and SMU. I think Miami takes a step back. I think Clemson will probably be better than 10-4. And we'll look at the records on another show. I think Florida State makes a big leap and contends for this title. You have a four-way fight for first place here. Got tickets to Notre Dame at Boston College, November 1st. Awesome. I love it. Scott, I'm sure you've been to Cherry Hill. It's an awesome venue for a football game. The atmosphere there is tremendous. It's not a huge stadium, but it's one of my favorites that I've ever been in. I went there a lot in the early 2000s when Josh Beekman, a friend of mine's son, played guard there for 4 years. Started for 4 years with Matt Ryan at quarterback. Tom O'Brien was the coach. They had some good years. Never quite got over the top. What about the quitters? I just told you. You realize You realize. So every player, I'm going to let Rick push my button today. This is why Rick won the award. Danny, I got to get with you. I know we're both busy. This is my fault. I got to get with Danny. I got to get Rick his itch award. We haven't picked out a trophy yet. We want to be really something special. This is why Rick has won that award. The Bill Pulver Memorial Itch Award. Do you have to be dead to have a memorial award named for you? Karma's gonna get me. I'm sorry, Billy. But this is why Rick got this. So every single player who ever comes through Florida State now is going to be a quitter because a bunch of quitters left the team before they played Georgia, before they got screwed out of going to the playoffs that year, the 4-team playoff, because their quarterback broke his ankle. And Jordan Travis retired today, too, by the way, sadly. That was his last playoff game was against, I think, South Alabama, or is that right? South Alabama, maybe? Broke his ankle. And the powers that be said, your undefeated record means nothing now because you have no quarterback. All they did was go in the ACC championship game and win. And I know they didn't beat a powerhouse with their third-string quarterback, I'll point out. And, Rick, when Georgia doesn't make the playoff, I just want you to be consistent, my friend. When Georgia doesn't make the playoff, and maybe that'll be 10 years from now, I don't know. That's a great program, obviously. But when they don't make the playoff and they go to the CarQuest Bowl or whatever, and 20 guys opt out, I hope you remember what you called everybody else who doesn't show up. Because they are quitters. You and I don't have a beef there. Those kids that left quit on their team. There's no doubt about that. The kids that stayed are not quitters. They played there with second and third stringers. They played the best team in the country. I'm sorry. Best team in the country that didn't make the playoff. So I guess my argument is already moot because they played outside the playoff in that game. All right. Well, never mind. I beat this horse to death, right? The kids that stayed are not quitters. They went, played Georgia, got their asses kicked. That's not quitting. I hope the guys who left are proud of themselves, including a guy I like in Jaron Verse. Bye. It's a much better facility back. Well, I still like it. I wasn't there in the 80s. I think first year I went there was, I don't know, when was Justice Smith there, though? Not Tom O'Brien, you already coached. Tom Coughlin coached there in the 80s, right? I was there for at least one game. And it's funny, I don't remember the stadium being different than when I was there in the early 2000s. But then I don't remember much, Scott, so it's not that big a deal, right? Let me go back to the top 25, and then maybe we'll look at some quarterbacks and where they might go this year. Here's the rest of the top 25. Florida at number 11. Don't forget, Florida finished 8-5 last year. All 5 losses were the top 15 teams. They found a quarterback. Probably saved their coach's job. And now we expect, and they had one of the toughest schedules in the country. We talked about the juggernaut schedule that they had, and they did very, very well. They'll miss some guys, but I think most of their players are back, and I would expect a jump. But they're going to be 11th in the country, I don't know. Kansas State, they're going to roll the dice at Avery Johnson taking a big step in the second season is what USA Today is saying. I like Avery Johnson a little bit. I love Kleinman as a coach. This team's very competitive year in and year out, but 9-4, 10-3 seems like the ceiling for this team. They'll compete in the Big 12. Illinois, Brett Bielema, good coach. Can they put it together in a very tough Big Ten 2 years in a row? They finished 10-3 last year. We'll see. Tennessee's got to figure out the quarterback situation. They did basically end up with a trade. It wasn't a trade. I saw so many idiots. I'm sorry, idiots. Yes. Saying, oh, now you can trade in college football. Did you see Tennessee and UCLA traded quarterbacks? Well, no, they didn't. They just coincidentally signed with the same each other's teams. So Joey Aguiar will be the quarterback out of Appalachia State. Never played it down at UCLA. It's gone. Will be the quarterback for Tennessee this year. I don't see them competing in the SEC. Michigan, will they make a jump forward? Quarterback's still a problem unless Bryce Underwood is ready to play, the $10 million man. Also have Mikey Keene from Fresno State. We'll see what happens there. South Carolina, great year last year, great finish under Shane Beamer, who's a really good coach and was feeling some heat of his own last year. I think South Carolina continues his progress. Lenora Sellers is going to be one of the top or most talked about quarterbacks going into next season and potentially into next year's draft. I think South Carolina continues that rise, does better than this 16, and competes again for the playoff. Brigham Young, a little bit of a step back, I think, for them. I think 17 is probably a good place for them. The Big 12 is very competitive. Louisville, they do have Miller Moss from USC has transferred in. I don't expect him to do as well as God, what's the kid's name? The 26-year-old kid, I can't say his name. McSlaw. Mississippi, 19. Got to replace Jackson Dart and a bunch of other guys. But nobody hits the portal harder than Lane Kiffin. Iowa State. Arizona State. Scott mentioned them, plus 10,000. So if I put 100 on them, I win 10 grand if they win the national championship. Kenny Dillingham's maybe the best young coach in the country. They really only lose Scatabo on this entire team. They've got almost everybody back. They've got their starting quarterback, Levitt, back. They get back Jordan Tyson, who hurt them not having him in the playoff. Oh, well, he was, I shouldn't say that. He wasn't at full health in the playoff. Nebraska, number 22. You know, I keep saying Nebraska's back, and I get laughed out of the building. I'm not going to say it anymore. It's time to shut up and win. Dylan Raiola was one of the most hyped freshman quarterbacks last year. Very inconsistent. Supposedly they got a terrific transfer class. We'll see. Nevada, Las Vegas. Dan Mullen, the new coach, former Mississippi State and Florida coach. This is an interesting team. This is a team to watch out for in the Mountain West. Mountain West, again, underrated. TCU 9-4 and Oklahoma 6-7. I'm not buying it. They do have a good transfer quarterback again, Mateer out of Washington State. We'll see how that goes. Seen Rick Sherlock and bet. Seen Rick Sherlock and bet over on FSU quitting. It's like betting Keith on this thing. There's a mad New Yorker. Trades are in. Trade is in. I don't know who posted that. There's no trades in college football, these guys. Oh, my God. Yet. College football is such a freaking mess. If I really wanted to get myself really upset today, I'd talk about Carlos and how he's still wrong about NIL. 4 years ago, we argued that NIL. I said what it was. Exactly what it is today. Pay for play. It was never anything else. It was never about anything else. It wasn't meant to be used as a recruiting tool, and it was. And this is what we've wrought. Kids making $10 million to play quarterback in college. Cam Ewers should have stayed in school. What's he going to get? 7th round draft pick? He's going to get no guaranteed money. He'll make the team, I think. But if he stayed in school, he'd be making $4, $5, $6 million somewhere in NIL money. I'm not saying I like that, but he got some bad advice. I really think the NFL is sending a message to not, Shedeur Sanders can play in the NFL, and he'll probably win that job in Cleveland. I never said Shedeur Sanders couldn't be an NFL quarterback. I said he's not ready to play now, and I said he's not a first-round talent. But I don't like quarterbacks in the first round anyway because they do not pan out. 8%. Where's that freaking article? Since 1967, 8% of the quarterbacks drafted in the first round have won a Super Bowl. Let me see what I can find. I haven't been able to find it. Hold on. Bear with me here, would you? You're making me nervous. Stop staring at me. James Martin and I disagree on this a lot. And I know sometimes you have to take a quarterback, right? If the need is there, if it's Peyton Manning, there's a lot of reasons to take a quarterback. That's not it. Where is that? May 2024. April 20. Maybe this is it. No, I'm not going to be able to read it. Oh, it is. It's in here. Yeah, I think this is the article. Bear with me a second. If I can find. This isn't it. Oh, they had some awesome numbers about the numbers since 1967 in the shared draft. And I just am not going to find it, I guess. That's a shame because it's a great article. I should have downloaded it. It might be the Times because the Times bought this. It's taking me right to the Athletic. So somewhere in here. Oh, here it is right here. Oh, this is 93 to 2002. The numbers aren't quite as bad, by the way. First round quarterback extension rate. We're talking a third quarterback out of 6. I don't want extension rates. That's not the story I was looking for. It's too bad. It's a great article, and I have not been able to find it since. And it most likely, yeah, that's not going to be it either. Oh, well, whatever. We can get into this year's if you want. What we got here? Oklahoma equals a fighting paralysis. Listen, where is Alpe's feeling all right? I know Alan's got some back issues and going to have some work done on that, and we wish him well. And he has some good days and bad days, and unfortunately, we all do. Life is not easy, man. I know Rick and Danny and Scott and everybody can speak to that, especially when you reach a certain age. And Alan's not near that age, so stay strong, my friend. With that said, your coach is in trouble. He's gone 6-7 2 of the last 3 years at Oklahoma. They still want Bob Stoops to come back. He had one good year with Dylan Gabriel as his quarterback. He got $2 million and hightailed it to Oregon. He brings in a Washington State quarterback this year. Did a great job bringing Dylan Gabriel in from UCF. But it's defense. He's a defensive guy, and their defense has not been that good. They lost to a Houston team. They almost lost to a Houston team last year that wasn't very good. I don't see how this team thinks they're going to compete in a really good SEC still. Hello, CA. How are you, my friend? Good to have you with us. David Carr did win a Super Bowl. Did he? That's as a starting quarterback, I think, too, by the way, Scott. David Carr wouldn't even make this list. So David Carr won a Super Bowl. Was he the giant backup then? Is that what the deal was? Did he back up who's their quarterback when they won the Super Bowl? Number 5. Collins? Is that where he won his ring? Had to be. I mean, he only played with the Texans and the Giants, I think. Who are going to be the wasted picks next year, by the way? Shouldn't that be interesting? I think I lost that too. No, here it is. Here's the number one here, and everybody talks about, we're going to wait for next year's quarterback class. It would be so much better than this one. Let me give you some of the guys that are at the top of this list. Quarterback. He's the number 1 rated prospect. Arch Manning. He's a great physical specimen. He can run with the football. We don't even know if he can play college football yet, by the way, except for very small stretches. I have no doubt he's going to be very good. But also, Arch Manning likes it at Texas. He likes the college life. Now, if he's going to be the number 1 pick in a draft, he'd be stupid not to come out. Because the number 1 pick is going to get around $45, $47 million probably next year. Maybe a little more. Because we have a rookie scale in the NFL. You can only make so much. But you're going to make a lot more. Plus, you got 5 years you're locked in for. You can really renegotiate. By the way, that's an untalked about thing with Shedeur Sanders falling to the 5th round. There is a couple of silver linings here for Shedeur Sanders. Now, one thing that's not a silver lining is he went from potentially $40 billion being a top 3 pick to $1 million or whatever. Now, maybe $4 million. No, 5th round, probably $1 million. Guaranteed money. Silver linings. He's going to get a chance to win a job. He loses the 5th year that he can't be free. So that helps if he becomes a player. And I never said he couldn't play in this league. I do think Shedeur Sanders has got a chance to be a player in this league. There's some red flags. I would hope he's humbled by his experience a little bit at least. Anyway, here's the other guys, though. Clay Kubnik. Oh, man. I see Tim Tebow when I think of this. Drew Allar, maybe. Good size, 6'5". More of a vertical passing game than some of these other guys we'll talk about. Nico's a 4th best prospect, and you're telling me this is a much better draft class than this prior year? Nessmeyer from LSU? Not so sure. Lenore Sellers, I kind of like. I like his tools. I need to see a little bit more finesse in his game. We'll see how he plays out. If South Carolina plays like they played at the end of last year and Lenore Sellers plays like he did, he could be a top 5 pick. And he could be the 2nd best pick quarterback in this draft behind Manning. Sam Levitt, I'm not seeing it. Mateer, not seeing it. Moss, again, these 2 guys that we could see a lot more of. But Carson Beck, these are the top 10 guys. Doesn't get any better after this. Jackson Arnold, Connor Wegman, Taylor Green, Noah Fita, Dante Moore, we just talked about. I can't even get Danny Fuller to mention his name. Jalen Daniels from Kansas. He got hurt 2 years ago, and the bloom is off that rose. And it gets worse from there, guys. Do you think this is a great quarterback class? I'm going to concentrate on the top 10. Right? Here's, again, assuming these guys pan out that we haven't seen, like Arch Manning. Which one of these guys is can't miss NFL prospects as we speak today? Arch Manning, I'll give you the benefit of doubt because of the pedigree. Yes. Clay Klubnik? Drew Alar? Amaliva? Nussmeier? Sellers? I like Sellers a lot. Can't miss NFL prospects? You're going to use top 10 draft picks on which one of these guys? Now, how the season plays out next year will have a lot of bearing on this. Some of these guys will move up. Some of these guys will move down. None of these guys scream, I got to have this guy. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. There's times I don't. You know my moniker. Stolen from Billy Packer. I'm sometimes wrong, but never in doubt. And the other thing is, I tell you when I'm wrong. The tapes don't go missing. They're on Facebook forever, guys. They're on YouTube forever. Anything you think I ever said, you can go find. If you know what show to go look for it. Unlike, guys like Mike Francesa, godfather of sports talk radio in his mind, the tapes don't go missing. We stand behind what we say. I stand behind my Giants pick for the playoffs last year. Oh, what other news can we pick up on here today before we wrap it up? You guys got any other comments? We can take them now, or we can get ready to wrap it up after I do a little news. Belichick defends girlfriends from false narrative. If she didn't write that letter or that email, I'd be shocked. We talked about Jordan Travis retiring, had a great college career. Please, as great a player as he was, he's a good kid. No revisionist history here. He was not going to be a first-round draft pick if he didn't get hurt. He was going to be a 3 to 5 round pick. He got picked in the 5th round with his injury. Boise State's Spencer Danielson, I said, gets a brand new contract or contract extension, I guess. The Pac-12, the new Pac-12, which is still needing more teams. They got a TV deal for 25. The Pac-12 finalizes television partnerships for the 2025 season with the CW, ESPN, and CBS combining to show 13 home games involving Oregon State and Washington State, which is really the only Pac-12 team still because they still need 2 more teams to be a real league. And the other teams aren't coming around for another, even the teams they have are not coming around for 2 more years, or another year, I should say. I don't see anything where the money tied to this is mentioned. I guarantee you this is not a lot of money. What else? Let's see. I don't want to talk about the House settlement. I could care less about that. We talked about where guys went in the draft. Hey, Scott, you didn't mention to me. Tell me what you think about Bill Belichick in his first year at North Carolina. I think this team goes 8-5, 500 in the conference. I got to see their record. Let's do our first record run. And this, I could change this later. I'm not sticking to this. But let me go How can I get there the best way? Teams. Help me get there, would you? This is going to be our first rundown, our first schedule look. I guarantee I went right by it. I did. North Carolina Tar Heels schedule. They're home against TCU. Labor Day night. I think it's going to be the only game played that night. I'm going to give them a win. They're going to play at Charlotte. I'll give them a win. They're going to play Richmond at home. I'll give them a win. At UCF, lose. Clemson, lose. What I got? 3 wins right now. At California, lose. Virginia. Hold on, I'm not doing this right. So I got a 3-game losing streak. I got 3 wins. Virginia's a win. 4. At Syracuse, loss. Versus Stanford, win. At Wake Forest, win. Duke, loss. Now I'm going to give it a Duke as a win. This team could be 6-6. Now, could they win at UCF? Maybe. At California? Maybe. Okay, now they're 8-5. Well, 8-4. And a bowl game result. But they could easily go to NC State and lose, go to Wake Forest and lose. This team, I think, is 6-6. That's what I got. On February 30th, season doesn't start for another 5 months. And we'll take some time off in that time. And we're going to wrap it up right now, guys. We thank everybody for watching. I should have turned off the Roku thing at 8 o'clock. Poor Robert probably didn't get in. I apologize, Robert. I'm getting out of there now, and you'll be live. So goodbye, Roku people. Friday we'll have an encore presentation. Wesley Walker will be my guest. I had him on a few months ago. It was a really fun interview. And we'll have an encore presentation next week with Richard Todd, former Alabama great. Wesley Walker, by the way, went to Cal. Was a standout there. Wesley was a lot of fun and got some interesting insight into his life and his career with the Jets and some of the cliques that were going on there within the sack exchange and the rest of this team. And you might get an insight of why this team didn't do better with a lot of talent in the 80s. If you're old enough to remember the 80s. So 2 more weeks at least of encore presentations, and we'll be back. We'll be live Friday afternoon with the MLB update, and we'll certainly be live with my all-time favorite show, the Sunday Stream of Consciousness, where everything goes. I think we've lost some friends through the Sunday Stream of Consciousness. Maybe not. I don't know. I just can't, I don't want to lose friends over anything, but man, stuff happens. What can you do? Anyway, guys, we're going to wrap it up. I got to do music for this show, which is basically the music for most of my shows, because I keep getting music infringement rights with the other music, which I bought. So we'll just stick to this one so we don't get those copyright infringements, and whatever little bit of money Facebook wants to send me will be mine. Guys, I appreciate you coming my way. College football huddle is always a lot of fun. It's more fun when we got games to talk about. We'll have stuff to talk about. Keith Engle from TGI Sports Talks, College Football Huddle. We'll see you next week. And we'll see you Friday and Saturday as well. Friday and Sunday as well. Bye-bye.